Okay, so can you give me a brief overview of the process of chocolate making that you perform?
Okay, the first thing you have to do is take the chocolate that's in the solid form here, that's in temper, and you have to transfer it to a liquid form that's in temper in order to use that to either coat centers or to coat a mold. And the process of doing that is called tempering. So what we do is we take the chocolate and we melt it either in an effector or in a bowl over steam. And you want to melt the chocolate so it does not exceed 110, 115 degrees. It's very important not to overheat chocolate. Chocolate burns at 130 degrees, and what happens when it burns is it seizes and it becomes this lump, and there's nothing you can do with it at that point. You have to throw it away. It's a very expensive mistake. So your temperature is important when you're heating the chocolate throughout the whole process. So we heat the chocolate to around 110 degrees, and then we have to temper the chocolate. We do that because the chocolate is made up of cocoa butter, cocoa mass, and sugar. And these three things don't like each other. And you have to get them to cooperate. You have to get the crystals to lock together so that when you snap it, it's crisp, and when you look at it, it's shiny. When you see chocolate that's streaky, it's because those elements haven't locked together. And the way you do that is through agitation and change in temperature. And the way I like to do it is by hand on the marble. So take the chocolate and you pour it on the marble, and the marble is cool, so that gives you your change in temperature. Then you have to agitate the chocolate. So that's why we move it around the marble, you spread it around, you gather it up, you keep spreading it around. You're looking for visual clues. As the chocolate gets spread around the marble, it starts to become thicker, and you'll see some crystals in it, and you scrape it up until it's just about ready. You reserve in the bowl your melted chocolate, about a third of the chocolate, and you scrape the chocolate that's been on the marble back into the bowl, combine it, and you're trying to hit, for milk chocolate, around 87 degrees. And then once it's about 87, you leave it in the bowl, let it come up to working temperature, which is about 88 degrees.
Okay.
So you're going to ask me another question.
Okay, so after you've done tempering, what else is left of the process to sort of make the chocolate into what we would buy at the store and eat?
So then you can take the chocolate that's been tempered and you can pour it into a mold. You can make a chocolate bar. Or if you have centers prepared, like you have the ganache that we cut on the guitar, you take that and you dip that in the chocolate, set it down on parchment and let it set. You can decorate it, whatever. But it needs about 24 hours to set. So what happens when it sets is those crystals come together more tightly and the air is being forced out. So it's important to just let it set in a relatively cool room for about 24 hours.
Okay, so when you receive the chocolate, what stage of its making is it at?
So when I get the chocolate, it's in a coin, it's in a pistole, which is how you get it in the industry, and it comes in a box like this of either 11 pounds or 22 pounds. And you have to start at that point and then melt it and do whatever you want to do with it. But it's pretty much in a not ready for sale. It's not ready as a finished product.
So if you have that one coin of chocolate, do you have an estimate of about how many cocoa beans or how many pods would go into making that one coin of chocolate?
No, because each manufacturer has a completely different process. For example, this is a Swiss chocolate. Now, Swiss chocolate is very blended, and different brands of Swiss chocolate each manufacturer grinds the chocolate for a certain amount of time to get it to be smooth. Because remember, chocolate is really a solid, and so when it gets on your tongue, what melts is the cocoa butter, but what's left is the cocoa mass, and it'll feel smooth to you only because the manufacturer has ground it down very, 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 very fine. So that's what's really sort of the difference.
Okay, and so what manufacturer do you prefer to get your chocolate from? What areas do you prefer the cacao to come from?
I prefer Swiss chocolate, and this is a blend of various chocolates. Some people like the single origin chocolates, like from Latin America. They have a very strong and distinct taste, which I don't care for. I want a chocolate that's going to blend in with my fillings. I want something that's not going to overpower what else I'm trying to do. So I like Swiss chocolate, and the chocolate I prefer is from Albertster in Illinois.
So this company that you like, do you know where they get their cacao from? Where they import the pods from?
I'm not sure. It might say on here where what area they get it from. Yeah, okay. So this is from Venezuela, Ecuador, Ghana, and Ivory Coast.
Okay, so
We have the chocolate effector, which heats the chocolate. It doesn't get extremely hot because remember, chocolate burns very easily, so that melts the chocolate very gently. Then we also have the spatula and the spade to work the chocolate on the marble, of course the marble itself. And we have dipping tools of various shapes and sizes depending on what you're dipping. Big wide for like the Oreos, for example, or something small and round for kind of filling.
what is the difference? Can you tell the difference between milk and dark chocolate?
Sure. Dark chocolate, as I said, has cocoa mass, cocoa butter, and sugar. And milk chocolate introduces into that equation milk powder. And that's what makes it